Much. So Ire has just won the second game in this match for StarCraft Ascension, and Migraine is coming in now for Eternal Dreamers. Migraine, unfortunately, we're not able to get a bio for him. He was out of town when we were asking for that information, so we're gonna go in blind here. He is a Protoss, but let's see if he has what it takes to unthrone.
Yep, so we're going to have a little PvP here, and just to let everybody know, this is SC2CTL StarCraft 2 Community Team League, and we are casting the playoffs now. We went through 6 weeks of pool stage. We saw some great play from everyone. There's lots of different divisions from all skill levels, all the way from Bronze to Grandmaster. We've been pretty much only casting the Master Grandmaster division, but there is a lot of other good play, so do check out the site. You can, download the replays or whatever if you want to see anything else. But we're in the round of 8 now of the playoffs, and we are saying goodbye to teams now. So
that is correct.
With that, one of these teams at the end of the night will be out of the tournament until next season. Which one will it be? Let us find out as we jump right into this game. In the lower right-hand corner on Belshir Vestige, it's going to be the one, the only, Ire from StarCraft Ascension.
And in the top left-hand corner, representing Team Eternal Dreamers, a Protoss player, Migraine.
So is Migraine going to give Ire a migraine after his seeming easy run through the first 2 opponents, is the question. Ire on quite a streak here, but Migraine a not Terran, we'll call him that. He's a Protoss. So that will be something different for Ire to deal with, as the first 2 games were PBT.
And obviously the builds that you're going to use in Protoss versus Protoss are going to be different than those from Protoss versus Terran. So we'll see if those builds for him are quite as polished as his Terran ones are. Typically, as we've noted before, players tend to, be good against certain races. Most players don't have great win percentages across all 3 races. Some people just have weak spots. It's rare you see it in the pro leagues where there would be players who are just generally good against everybody. Their lowest is like 70% win rate as opposed to like 90% on the other 2. But you're always going to have a weak spot. You're always going to have a weakness, and it's hard to prepare for that.
Yeah, actually, in one of the little quirks of Protoss, Day 9 was actually talking about the other day. He said and I do this all the time and it ticks me off so bad, almost universally does not put this pylon and gateway right next to the Nexus, because how frustrating is it when you're on your 2nd and 3rd base and you're rallying probes to them, that you look back and you have 5 probes jammed in between your pylon and gateway. But looks like gas is going to be finishing for both players. Double gas will be the choice. Gateway down for Migraine. Cybercore going down just now. Looks like fairly equivalent timing from both players. So we have a fairly even game so far.
Yeah, and this gas choice has been very common for Protoss players in Protoss versus Protoss. The 2 in each gas gets them just the right amount of gas for this type of build, and gets them off their feet without getting flooded with the gas. And if you look at the gas, their gas mining is almost identical if you watch it going up there.
Yeah, if we look at income, for some reason, Ire does have about 100 mineral per minute advantage while they are mining the same Vespene gas. But quick, Warp Gate comes down, and the Mothership Core will be soon to follow as soon as they reach 100 gas again, I almost assure you. Stalker coming out for both players. So we haven't seen any divergence yet, but I'm sure we will here fairly soon. Second gateway coming down for Migraine as well. This is also a pretty cool map. I like this map. It's fairly wide open. The 2nd base is pretty easy to take and defend. 3rd base a little bit harder. If you're going Sky Toss, it's definitely easier because you can, take this one and defend it with Mothership Core in your army. Fairly easy, but it looks like we're going to be seeing Warp Gates and Gateways out of these 2 players, as they've got Stalkers and Gateways in production.
Now, Ire has gotten a Mothership Core. We have not seen that come out of Migraine yet, so that is the first deviation. And the Stalker and Mothership Core are heading across the map now.
Both players sending Stalkers out to do some scouting. So, and Migraine already had one on the tower, so he's going to push the Stalker back of Ire. And he does have a 1 to follow, but he also was chrono boosting out the first couple of Stalkers there, so it looks like Migraine wants to put some pressure onto Ire.
Iyer seeing that those two stalkers and deciding he's going to put down a robotics facility, probably to get those immortals, as they are crazy good
Yeah,
against
3 stalkers meet the 2 of Migraine here, so that is once again going to push Migraine back. No hull damage has been dealt to any units yet. Now there has, as Iyer does push ahead, he does take out a stalker. That's going to be a huge advantage right now, but oh, these 2 stalkers
He
are
might
trapped by
lose
these
one
3 of Migraine.
himself. Great micro by Migraine there.
Yeah, Iyer caught himself off guard a little bit. I think he got a little bit too bloodthirsty for that damaged stalker.
And now Migraine has a big stalker advantage. He's got 3 to the 2. 3 more. Oh, now we got more stalkers warping in, so Iyer is going to have 5.
2 pylons go down in Migraine's main base by Iyer, so Iyer taking a ballsy move here to try and warp in some units directly into the base of Migraine. We'll see if these are able to finish as the mothership core is poking away at them.
And that's a really good way to scare the pants off of your opponent. Migraine is forced to bring back his units and warp in some other things, and stalkers are now being warped in. They're targeting down the mothership core. There are zealots on the field to deal with them. Probes are being pulled, and one stalker falls, second stalker is going to fall.
That's fantastic control by Migraine, because he was able to stop those stalkers from getting in, because now Photon Overcharge is available, so this is going to push back Iyer, even if he does have more stalkers. So excellent control, excellent play by Migraine.
Now Iyer is able to stay at the top of this ramp, though, and that's going to protect his pylon. He's going to try and take out this natural base. Oh, great force field.
Yeah, force field.
So Migraine is going to lose these 2.
He does have an immortal about to pop out here, so that is going to be able to help with these stalkers quite a bit, especially with some zealots in his army as well. So now he's going to move out here and be able to push these away. I don't think Iyer quite has enough energy for another force field yet. Yeah, actually he does. So 1 more force field for him if he can get out here. But the pylon does go down. That's going to supply block Iyer.
And Iyer is going to be in a tricky position now because he's not able to resupply. Great force field again, trapping these zealots on the low ground, microing that sentry while he's taking down the zealots.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually played a ladder game the other day and had the same exact situation happen where a Protoss held me in my base, and it's amazing how little you can do when someone's holding you in your base like that. You're so stranded.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation. Migraine is handling it very well.
Yeah,
He is losing a decent number of units. He did lose his mothership core, but no hull damage is taken to that nexus, and so his natural remains, and Iyer is forced to pull back to his secondary pylon.
But if we look at units lost, it's fairly even. Both Migraine has lost 8 units, Iyer has lost 9, and fairly equivalent counts. But oh, nice force fields by Migraine, going to trap a couple units of Iyer as he's able to pick them off easily. That moves him ahead of the units lost count. These 2 immortals are being super important for Migraine right now.
Iyer does have an observer and has warped in 3 zealots onto the, back in his natural. So it looks like he's expecting a Dark Shrine type answer to that push.
There's a proxy pylon here near the second base of Iyer by Migraine, but Iyer's going to go ahead and put down the Photon Overcharge on his natural nexus to keep this push away.
And that's going to buy him some incredibly needed time as his forces were dwindling after that attack, and Iyer is just rallying. He's got 2 immortals, sentries, stalkers, zealots, so he's got a very robust army, with Iyer only having 1 sentry, a few zealots, and a few stalkers. So he's going to have to be really careful. Let's see if Iyer's able to defend as well as Migraine was able to.
It was a little bit of a botched force field there, trying to trap a couple units, but ended up wasting it. He's only got enough energy for about 2 more force fields here, so he's going to have to be really careful how he uses those.
Iyer chrono boosting out an immortal, trying to get that out. Really needs to get some more of those into his army composition. As it is so stalker heavy. Photon Overcharge goes down again. Great force fields zoning out a lot of these units. The zealots are taking heavy damage. And now moving forward, taking out 1 stalker, a second stalker. Very low on health, but the immortal does join that army.
Yeah, Migraine definitely getting in there doing some well-needed damage, but Iyer being able to push him away once that immortal came out, but Migraine not overcommitting. He's being very smart about his engagements here.
Well, he knows that he has an advantage. He doesn't want to lose that advantage.
And now if we look at the army supply, Migraine is just slightly in the lead with 5 more supply of army now, with this warp end jumping up to 10 more supply. So if he pushes here, he could do quite a bit of damage.
Ire does have an observer in the base of Migraine, so he is going to be aware of kind of what the response to this is. Force Field's keeping out Ire's army as it's dealing huge damage to this Nexus, just going to try and power that down. And he's going to get that.
Oh, is he going to get it, though? He needs to get back and focus it down.
That Time Warp really doing some huge delaying. Migraine knowing that he is not going to be able to save his army and take out that Nexus with that Time Warp there, so he's forced to retreat before finally getting the snipe.
See, now Ire has Colossus in production as well as Colossus range, so this is going to really be a big step up for Ire here. I mean, Migraine does still have 2 Immortals, but if he can get 1 to 2 Colossus out with range, this is really going to allow him to push back, because Migraine hasn't been doing any kind of tech behind it besides a +1 upgrade.
No, he's been playing a lot more defensively and a lot more economically as he's taken another Nexus. He's been putting cannons down in his natural and his main and really just trying to resupply this army. I think that he's trying to, potentially, he was trying to put the nail in the coffin there, press the advantage. It does not look like it is going to be successful as he is retreating now, and a hallucinated Phoenix running out to see if it can get a scout going.
Yeah, I definitely think it was smart for him to just let the Nexus of Ire be. I mean, I remember watching a WCS game, I think it was MC, I can't remember exactly who it is, but whoever it was, they overcommitted to taking out that Nexus, and in the process lost half their army, so then the counter swing by the other player just killed him. So definitely smart by Migraine, but as the hallucinated Phoenix of Ire comes in, looks like it's not going to make it into the main base to see what's up, but there wouldn't be a lot to see, it's just the Twilight Council coming down.
Both players taking a moment to regroup and get some of their tech up as they... Interesting.
Yeah.
Migraine decides to make 2 hallucinated Archons. I think he's anticipating some kind of attack here.
He does have 2 Immortals loaded in that Warp Prism as well, so it looks like he's going to want to be doing some pressure with that, but is this probe going to see the Warp Prism? No, it's not, because Ire's putting down a pylon here. Looks like to do some aggression, but he does have an observer here to see the army movement of Migraine. But this Immortal drop could do some... Oh, but Ire knows what's up. He moves his Stalkers back to take down that Warp Prism, but is he going to get it? He's not, but the Immortals are wide out in the open here, as some Zealots are warped in to deal with that.
Warp Prism is moving back in, trying to get a little bit of that micro going.
But it only has a few HP left, so he has to be very careful, otherwise,
Oh,
yeah, not able to get back in. Only has 14 HP left on that, so 2 or 3 Stalker shots definitely would be able to take that out.
That definitely was not as effective as he wanted it to be. He only was able to pick off a few Stalkers, which is really not a great trade for 2 Immortals.
Ire now warping in some Zealots on the right side of his proxy pylon. Look like he's gathering his forces to do a big push here, but Migraine knows what's coming as he's got his army together as well.
Migraine did warp in a couple of High Templar there, but I don't think he has Storm. He doesn't have Storm, he's not even researching it yet. Oh, just making Archons out of him, alright.
Yep. There are 2 hallucinated Archons for the record here, too.
But they're not really engaging in the battle, so they can't really drum up too much scaring if they're all the way back there.
Great time warps by both players. Neither army can move very freely through the battlefield as those Colossus are trying to do a lot of damage here to the Sentries and Zealots.
Archons are able to soak up some of that damage, but with the Colossus, they don't target just a single guy, they target it indiscriminately, so a lot of great force fields to negate the micro of that Immortal, and geez, Ire's army is just going so deep here.
GG.
And that's GG.
Yeah, we saw the army supply of Ire just start to skyrocket there, where Migraine started to invest more in his economy, putting down that 3rd base. Ire just, he was teching hard.
Well, yeah, you know, he did a great job of building what he needed to make that defense work. You know, he got the units that he needed, but he didn't overcommit to it. He didn't make too many units. And behind that, you know, as we saw, he was making Colossus, and he's getting extended thermal lance. And then he decides, as soon as he's able to defend that, okay, now I'm going to get upgrades, and I'm going to continue to focus on my army. I'm going to continue to try and tech up a little bit and be able to push with a stronger army. Whereas Migraine, you know, had an amazing, amazing defense at the beginning of that game, made a lot of good units, and definitely looked like he had the advantage, but was not able to get in there and do quite the amount of damage that he needed to when he swung back with that counterattack and ended up getting chased off. And, you know, the macro decision was maybe not the right decision in that situation.
Yeah, but that's the same thing with mirror matchups too. I mean, all you have to do is one player to make one mistake where the other player goes the other direction, and that's what switches the tables, which is clearly what that did. But great play by both players. The aggression was so interesting and fun to watch in the beginning of that game, so hats off to both of them. But Iyer is going to move on, winning the third game for StarCraft Ascension.